This is the After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
It is the After Party Live. I'm little again. Look at that. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your patience. And thank you for being here on a Travel Tuesday. It's so nice to have you along for the ride. I've been looking at the chat, seeing what you guys have been talking about. And I know that it is absolutely not Mark's show. It's my show. This is Kim. Hi, Chaplain Fred. Thank you for hanging out with us today. It's just a little kind of cool down is what we call it, Chaplain Fred, where we take a deep breath and talk about everything except politics, kind of mellow out and cover the stories that maybe we didn't get a chance to cover on the Mark Thompson show because we were focused on the biggest news stories of the day instead of the stories that maybe don't get a lot of attention. So that's what we do here on the After Party Live. Totally different vibe. And that's for a reason, because I could have continued talking politics for a third hour, but I don't think that's what people want. I think people want something a little different. So maybe I'm wrong, but that's the focus of this show, and that's what we do here on the After Party Live. Yeah, it's a sister show. That's exactly right. It's a sister show. So that's what we have. That's what we're doing. Wes, the references our conversation about famous houses. And I have not seen the photos, Wes, of people trying to take pictures of the Breaking Bad house and the woman who owns it. But I know that a lot of the people that live in these famous houses get really frustrated with all the looky-loos that come by. So it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Also, I see a lot of talk about Mars in the chat. And I'm sorry all that played out as it did. But yeah, this show, this atmosphere is a little more, I don't know, there's less tension filled because there's not a lot of politics going on here. So hopefully we can keep a mellow vibe in the chat and that'll be different. But I know it's hard when politics rear up, and yeah, I'll say about that. So David K. Johnston clips kept popping up in your feed. Yeah, he's so good. So good. He's excellent. So I'm glad that that's the way you found us, and thank you for making your way here as well. Please click the like button. Please click the subscribe button. Both of those things help keep this show rolling right along. It's a smaller show and still working to build it up. So thank you very much for that. All right, we don't have a lot of time, so let's dig into some of the things that we are scheduled to talk about today. And one of them, have you seen the direwolf story? This is an interesting story. These creatures are extinct. Well, technically, they're supposed to be extinct. And now it looks like they're back. The Colossal website says these direwolves fossils were preserved in the La Brea tar pits in the Los Angeles area. The species DNA wasn't preserved in tar, but the fossils were. So there was this international study done on dire wolves, and they did have samples in this that was a part of this study. And so this company, Colossal, uncovered more dire wolf DNA than had ever been previously found. And eventually, they say they were able to really take a look at this species genome, its entire DNA set, and they brought in the CRISPR. It's a gene editing technology, and they genetically modified cells from a living gray wolf. They say that usually when they do a cloning, they have to use tissue samples, but Colossal was able to use modified cells to create embryos and then transfer them to a surrogate domestic dog. And they grew. And they created 3 litters of direwolf puppies, 2 males, Romulus and Remus, and a female named Khaleesi, after the character in the Game of Thrones. So now I guess we've brought these direwolf pups into the world, and this species that was extinct is now back. They say maybe it's not a full revival of the dire wolf. The physical and genetic resemblance is close, but not quite complete. So, one of the biologists at the University of Buffalo was not involved in the research, but says all you can do is make something look superficially like something else. Whatever ecological function the dire wolf performed before it went extinct, it can't perform those functions in today's environment. They're caring for these dire wolf pups on a 2,000-acre preserve, which apparently the American Humane Society has looked at it. They say it's good. It's good enough to be the habitat for these pups. They've got a 10-foot tall fence and perimeter security in case you're worried about them escaping. They had also created 2 litters of cloned red wolves. Those are the most critically endangered wolves in the world. This company, Colossal, they're doing this de-extinction process. That's what they want to do. They say it's an effort to support conservation around the world. They want to preserve, expand, and test genetic diversity. They say it should be done before these endangered animal species like the red wolf are lost or go extinct. They, though, have plans, and we talked about this on the show before, to de-extinct the woolly mammoth. I I just don't know. I don't know. These dire wolves, they went extinct 12,500 years ago. So I don't know why we're trying to bring them back. 12 more than 12,000 years, 12,500 years. I think we have wolves. I don't know I don't know about rewriting history or tampering with things that have been gone for so long. And as the biologists are saying, it can't possibly be the same exact creature. But if you need to build a massive security perimeter and fence to keep these things in, I just, I, it feels wrong to me to do this, to mess with biology in such a way and the natural progression of things. I'm all for conservation. If dire wolves were still around now, I'd be all for a breeding program to try to help their species thrive. But I don't know about bringing back a species that's been extinct for more than 12,000 years. I think it feels oogie. It feels like messing with, I don't know, things we shouldn't be messing with. What do you think? What do you think about this? Yeah, I don't know. Ms. Organic says, I think we need to work our little asses off protecting the species that are here from extinction. Thank you. That's what I think. Exactly. Ms. Organic says, not bringing back the ancient critters, right? Gillette says, let's not bring back the dinosaurs. Nolavidian, maybe some rich guy will build a Pleistocene park. Yvonne says, yeah, why can't we just protect what we have? Tammy writes, dire wolves are much bigger than our current day wolves. I don't know. Yeah, I think we're messing with something that shouldn't be messed with. Yeah, Deidre, I'm not sure we should be playing with nature. I guess that's how it feels that we're fiddling with nature. 12,500 years they've been extinct, and now we decide that they shouldn't be. John says it's not really bringing them back if they don't have the exact DNA. Those dire wolves won't have any habitat. I guess they'll live on this 2,000-acre preserve with a big security system. And what's the point of that? To keep them like caged animals in a habitat? I don't know. Preservation, yes. Reincarnation, no, says Tammy. Sea Dog says, is that the same wolf that's in the Game of Thrones? I don't know if it's the same wolf. Perhaps. I don't know. And the Game of Thrones is in a made up world, right? Yeah. Jane says we should be protecting endangered species here. And I think that's really the gist of it is there's so many creatures that are living and threatened or endangered that we could be helping, then why would we wanna bring back a dire wolf or a woolly mammoth? Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. Chris says, "Bring back the dodo and the passenger pigeon." Something. They're cute little wolf pups until they get really big, and then maybe they're not so cute. Zero Sum says, "Imagine being chased by a saber-toothed tiger and wolves and short-faced bears. Nope, not into it. Morning runs are cool without being a critter's breakfast." Yeah. I guess if you have a lot of money, that this is the kind of thing that you do. De-extinct these creatures in this weird Dr. Frankenstein science. Nullifidian says, "We can take them with us when we move to Mars." Yeah, maybe it'll be the dire wolves on Mars. Cute little puppy faces, though. I'll give them that much. Here's what they look like as grown-ups. Speaking of animals, it turns out that people trust animals more. People trust people that have animals more than people without. The story out of Popular Science is that people tend to trust pet influencers over human influencers because they're pets. They have no hidden agenda. Uh, it looks like research has been done now into this. They published this study in the Journal of Advertising Research. And the study authors say that on social media, pets, animals appear to be more persuasive influencers. They have the edge over human social media influencers when it comes to trustworthiness. I guess you trust an animal more than you trust a human. Petfluencers are defined as a domestic animal who regularly appears in videos or photos posted by its owner or its human, like Wrinkle the Duck, who is running in the New York City Marathon. Uh, n- Wrinkle, by the way, has 800,000 followers. Nala the cat, 4.5 million Instagram followers. A lot of these petfluencers became popular during COVID. There was a dog named Bunny that became a viral sensation on TikTok. And a lot of their humans, owners, these humans that have these animals and put them all over the social media, they work with advertising agencies on brand partnerships. So there's a human behind all this making a lot of money. Nala, the cat, is believed to be worth an estimated 80 million, rather, $114 million, 80 million pounds. She's among the last year's top earning petfluencers. So there was a group of researchers from the University of Louisville in Kentucky and the University of Strathclyde, Glasgow, and the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. And they were deciding to study how an animal or a pet influencer's endorsement of a brand can affect consumer responses and behavior. And so they set up this fictional set of advertisements featuring a pet and a human, each one, for these products that included peanut butter and wine. The fake ads ran for about 4 days on Instagram. One of the wine posts said, "What's your human's go-to wine that sets the scene for cozy evenings snuggled by the fire? This one seems perfect for my human." One of the peanut butter posts said, "Any peanut butter addicts around here just helping my human daddy clean up his pippin nut jar." They tested then the response. The pet posts reached more than 18,000 viewers on Instagram. The ads featuring people, 17,000. They had a better run on the cost placing and the ad in the first place as well. So after surveying more than 200 people who interacted with those ads, the team found the pets were more effective when their message matched up with a consumer's focus on immediate pleasure and satisfaction. As the number of sponsored posts by social media influencers rise, their perceived sincerity decreases. So the more a human posts and backs products, the less people trust that, partly due to what they call influencer fatigue and why pet influencers often offer an alternative for a more sincere endorsement. The animal wouldn't lie, right? Nope, just the people behind the animal. The study's co-author says petfluencers offer distinct advantages compared to human SMIs, social media influencers. That's the SMI, the new term that we'll be using, right? While the persuasiveness of human influencers often stems from their relatability or aspirational appeal, petfluencers are seen as more genuine and sincere because their pets, they have no hidden agenda. They don't come with the baggage or scandals that sometimes follow human influencers, which makes the pets seem more trustworthy. They're going to need some follow up studies, as they always do, to validate these findings and examine the growing influence on pets or of pets and the world of social media. Yeah. I mean, is anyone surprised by that, that we trust animals more than we trust humans? Because look what humans do. Let's go back to Mayan times with this one. The researchers, in this case, archaeologists, were looking inside this old Mayan altar. And I guess it's not surprising what they found. Kind of sad and also creepy. They found child remains inside of this altar. This is this newly discovered ancient altar in Guatemala. They think this child may have been a sacrifice, and they also think the craftsmanship of this altar tells a story of major conflict between a Maya city state and perhaps a powerful rival. They put the study findings in the journal Antiquity. Today's date, April 8th. Archaeologists think this altar was built around the late 300 CE in the Maya city of Tikal. It's got 4 panels painted red, black, and yellow. And it also depicts a person wearing a feathered headdress, has some shields as well. They say the face looks like depictions of a Maya deity called the storm god, which has these almond-shaped eyes, a nose bar, and something called a double ear spool. I guess is some kind of ornamentation. There's a rendering of what they think it looked like when you could really see all of the paintings and you could see everything so clearly. It's hard to see here because everything is so faded. But if you look at that, you can kind of see the outlines of this drawing and these colors. And here's what they think it looked like back in the day. They think was created by a highly skilled artisan who was trained in Teotihuacan. The researchers say it's increasingly clear this was an extraordinary period of turbulence in the city of Tikal. What the altar confirms is that wealthy leaders from Teotihuacan came to Tikal and created replicas of ritual facilities that would have existed in their home city. It shows that Teotihuacan left a very heavy imprint there. So maybe they were conquered? Around 100 CE, the city of Tikal became larger and a more powerful dynasty. Temples, they say, from this large city-state are still standing in the jungle. The residents battled for dominance in the greater Maya world. They had then people from Teotihuacan called the City of the Gods, or the place where men become gods. There was more than 100,000 people living there. It's one of the largest cities in the world at its peak between 100 BCE and 750 CE. And eventually, Teotihuacan was abandoned, they don't know why, before the Aztecs rose during the 14th century. And so archaeologists have some evidence that Tikal and Teotihuacan began regularly interacting around 650 BCE. At first, it was casual trading, and then things got a little more strained. And then Teotihuacanans started moving toward Tikal. There's things they found before. In the 1960s, archaeologists found a cut stone with text preserved describing the conflict between these two cities. They say Teotihuacan was essentially decapitating a kingdom. They removed the king and replaced him with a quisling, a puppet king, who proved a useful local instrument to Teotihuacan. So interesting. This altar that you're seeing on the screen was built right around the time of the coup. And we see, I mean, I don't want to compare it to today. We see how culture is important, right? How you move in and take control of culture. They think this altar's meticulously painted exterior represents just a fraction of the evidence of the major presence of Teotihuacan. Archaeologists found a child buried in a seated position inside of this altar. They say both of these cities did practice human sacrifice, but that this specific burial practice was rare in Tikal, but very common in Teotihuacan. They found the remains of other children on 3 sides of this altar. They think that it was human sacrifice. The remains of these 3 children, not older than 4 years old, were found on 3 sides of the altar. They had remains of an adult with a dart point made out of green obsidian, also found inside of the altar. So, and that's also apparently connected to Teotihuacan. So they say the fact that this altar and the area around it was later buried indicate Teotihuacan's presence changed and that it scarred Tikal. The Maya regularly buried buildings and rebuilt on top of them. Here, they buried this altar and surrounding buildings and just left them, even though later it would have been prime real estate. They treated it like a memorial, like some kind of radioactive zone, and they say it probably speaks to the complicated feelings they had about all of this at the time. Sad, fascinating, all at once. Speaking of old stuff, check this out. This is quite a find. Old music, old symbols, Bronze Age symbols. They were uncovered in Oman. A pair of copper alloy cymbals could offer fresh insights into culture in this area in the Bronze Age. They suggest music might have been at the forefront of connecting communities across these regions in Mesopotamia and the Indus Valley. They were found in the north of Oman. Here's what they look like. You can see the symbols and how they fit together there on the top. And here's where they were found. You can see them sticking out there. Oh, what's this green thing? Can you imagine? They were found actually in 2018. They date back to the 3rd millennium BCE at Dawa, the first contextualized instruments of their type to be discovered in Oman. Again, the study published in the journal Antiquity. These researchers carried out a visual inspection and copper isotope analysis to establish the origin and the purpose of these symbols. And they say while the instruments resemble those from the Indus Valley symbols, chemical analysis indicates they were locally made from Omani copper. And the significance of that discovery extends beyond their musical role, that the early Bronze Age period has already shown rich evidence of some contact between these folks. The exact nature of the contact is still a matter of study and debate. So interesting when these ancient civilizations overlap. These symbols were deliberately positioned and most likely held ritual significance consistent with practices in Mesopotamia and the Levant. The fact that they were present in high-ranking buildings suggests they may have been used for public ceremonies or communal rituals, and some researchers say the sound of the cymbals may have echoed across the valley, adding to the shared experience among the community members here. How cool to find old instruments like this. Can you imagine the sound of those across a valley? I don't know if they were calling you to pray or calling you to a ceremony or calling you to a community gathering of some type. They say that a lot of the research has, especially in Persian Gulf interactions, has really centered around trade. The presence, though, of these symbols suggests that there may have been deeper cultural and social impact and contact, that the presence of Indus-style cookingware, terracotta toys, etched carnelian beads, and square ivory weights in settlements like Dawa, as well as other southeastern Arabian settlements, supports the presence of Indus immigrants integrated into the local life in this region. They think these migrant communities may have participated in the smelting and mining of copper with confirmed Omani ores in the Indus Valley, because they can test all this stuff and know where it's from. But they say, yeah, these symbols add this dimension to these economic relations, highlighting music, ritual, community identity, and forming these multicultural societies. All is so interesting what they can tell just from finding symbols in the dirt. Fascinating. Shall we look at maybe the lotto of the day? Don't you love that? Pay to the order of we'll split it. Splitsies. All because this man who was helping his mom move some furniture found an old lost lottery ticket. Not too lost, not too old. Happened in Maryland. This guy is at his mom's house helping move some furniture, found a stash of scratch-off lottery tickets. He said one turned out to be a $50,000 winner. So he came across this small stack of long forgotten tickets that his mom originally bought as Christmas stocking stuffers. You ever done that? You bought something to give someone or to put in stockings and then you stick it somewhere, set it aside and you forget about it and you find it months later? He said, "Hey, Mom, I've got some scratch-offs here. Can I scratch them?" And she said, "Oh, go ahead. Take the tickets home and scratch them all off. If you win anything, we're going to split it," is what she said. So the man took the tickets home and he and his wife scratched them off, and they found one was worth $6, so that's good. Another was a $15 winner. And the last ticket, a $5 holiday luck doubler, $50,000 winner. He said, "I'm keeping my agreement. I will split the prize money with my mom. His share will go towards saving for a house and to pay off his debts, including some money that he already owes his mother." He said, "So actually, she'll end up getting more. That's okay. You owed it to her. You pay it back, right? $50,000, we'll split it." Thank goodness that the expiration date hadn't come and gone, right? Because that could have been a bummer. Yikes. There are some bears in Alaska that are helping with the design of a trash can. I have a video for you. Yeah. It's at an Alaska zoo in Anchorage. They are trying to figure out the best bear-resistant trash cans. So they decided they were going to have the bears at the Anchorage Zoo help test these trash cans out. And here's the video. I mean, this is a genius idea. You know right away which of the bins are going to work and which ones are easily crushed, right? Yeah.
Nothing's really bear proof, but we want to make sure that can is bear resistant enough.
Yeah. I mean, it took them a little while to wreck it, I guess. They're so resourceful. Oh no. Fighting over the trash can. Yikes. Mm-hmm. These are good testers, I have to say. That's pretty fascinating. What a great idea to have the bears test everything. From that, let's go to Disneyland because they're doing something interesting in allowing people to vote on the end of the world of color and the characters that you might like to see. It's really an interesting way of being interactive and having people um, kind of take a participatory role in what's happening. So it's on the app, and here's what you get to do. You get to vote on which character from the the emotional characters that you would like to see, whether it's envy, sadness, anger, disgust. You can vote. Every evening, the very first performance of World of Color Happiness, guests at Disneyland can vote via the Disneyland app for one of these four emotions. And then they'll be featured in special scenes throughout both of the shows on the evening of the vote. So that's kind of cool. It's, again, another way to be interactive. The nighttime spectacular features an interactive experience encouraging guests to sing and dance along, a special performance of Rainbow Connection by Boys to Men, an original song by Fitz and of Fitz and the Tantrums. They have the Muppets sharing a special message as well. So yeah, you get to play along and vote. I don't know if it's going to be your vote that wins, but that's kind of a way to kind of get people connected. I like it. All right, it is time for what we have here, Travel Tuesday, and I was inspired by perhaps the renaming, we don't know if it's official yet, of the airport near Nashville to Dolly Parton. We'll see how that works out. But I thought maybe, and then Mark going to Nashville. So I thought perhaps we could take a little look at Nashville, Tennessee today and see if it's a place that we're interested in going. It really is a pretty city. Look at that. Yeah. So this is a list of the best things to do in Nashville. The number one thing on the list from Travel and Leisure is to listen to live music at Robert's Western World. They say if you can only fit in one stop along the honky-tonk highway, make it Robert's Western World, because you can't beat the traditional country music that happens there every night. And of course, they have the fried bologna sandwiches that they serve as well. So, you know, another thing they say is really fun to do, and speaking of Dolly Parton, here she is to have your picture taken in front of a mural in Nashville. They have a lot of murals in the city, but they say getting a picture with one of them, it's just really fun. So, there's a Nashville Looks Good on You mural. There's the Dolly Parton mural in East Nashville. They say wherever you go, whichever neighborhood you're visiting, it's very likely that you'll run into one of these big, big murals. So it's a must do there. Another must do, listening to music at the Bluebird Cafe. They say you never know who's going to stop in and play songs. The listening room has 90 seats, so it's kind of one of these intimate venues and a really cool experience for the audience and for the performer. It's a great spot for a date night or a girls' night out or whatever it is, and you could be watching the next big superstar at the Bluebird Cafe. This one looks really cool. This is the Nashville Public Library, and they have a civil rights room at the Nashville Public Library. It is this area inside the library. This civil rights movement took place during the 50s and 60s, and it's all documented right in this room. They've got photographs showcasing the work and the events that led to desegregation. There's a symbolic lunch counter in there where you can read the 10 rules of conduct that were carried by the protesters during sit-ins. So again, Nashville Public Library, check out the Civil Rights Room. I think that's pretty cool. Then, if you're in the mood for something a little lighter, how about this? That looks pretty good. Yeah, they say snack on a donut from Five Daughters Bakery. Several locations around Nashville. It's a Instagram-worthy photo op. There's again with the mural. There's an I Heart Donuts mural at one of the stores. So I guess people love to do that. And of course, you've got to visit the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. And here it is. There's a lot to do. I think Mark's going there in sometime this month. This is the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, and they have an extensive gallery collection. They have paintings. They've got Elvis Presley's 1960 gold Cadillac. They've got lots of musical exhibits looking at country music's contribution to art. Pretty cool. There is a great area to go shopping. I know we don't talk about shopping a lot on this show. There's the hot chicken. Get a taste of the hot chicken. But shop around 12 South. This is another thing to do. One of the more walkable areas of Nashville, the 12 South neighborhood. Got coffee shops and bakeries and stores and a lot of really cool stores. White's Mercantile, Imogene and Willie. So there you go. They've got a great produce market here as well. Look at that. That's fun. That's the 12 South Farmers Market right in this area. There's also the Richland Farmers Market on Saturday mornings. So that's fun. And of course, you can't really go to Nashville without seeing a show at the Grand Ole Opry. And so, so there's that picture of the Grand Ole Opry. It's the home of country music. They've got a weekly live country music radio broadcast. They've done it since 1925. And it's currently, since the 70s, it's been housed in the Opry House. They've got acts ranging from up-and-comers to big names that are always playing multiple nights a week. You can get backstage access before the show if you book a tour there in advance. So there you go. And apparently you're not to leave Nashville, and I can't see Mark doing this, without a pair of cowboy boots. You've got to go and buy yourself a pair of cowboy boots when in Nashville. They've got Boot Country, Nashville Boot Company, Betty Boots, and you can schedule a custom fitting at some of these stores. Very fancy. Very fancy. You can get a very nice pair of cowboy boots. They also, and this I did not know was in Nashville. Check this out. They have a replica of the Parthenon there. It's one of the more impressive replicas. It's the Parthenon in Centennial Park, a full-scale replica of the original Parthenon in Athens. They say it's unique and stunning to see, and you've got to go take a look at it. Incredible. The Parthenon in Centennial Park in Nashville, Tennessee. How cool is that? And after you're done seeing the Parthenon replica, got to go get some biscuits. Eat your biscuits at the Loveless Cafe. They say the biscuits are par for the course in the South. And you really can't leave Nashville without having one or two or more for breakfast. And so the Levelist Cafe is recommended. They've been serving biscuits since 1951. You can eat biscuits with country ham, fruit, red-eye gravy, jam, you know. There's another museum, though, in Nashville, and it is the National Museum of African American Music. It's been around since 2021, and it celebrates the Black music experiences, multiple genres showcased here. Artifacts, memorabilia, clothing. There are all kinds of exhibits that highlight the history of hip hop, gospel, blues, jazz, R&B, spirituals. They say it's the newest addition to the music museums, and it's incredible. You can spend hours in here if you are a music fan, rather. Pretty cool. I love it. Another place they'd like to take us at Travel and Leisure is to hike around a lake. They try to send us to the Nashville Zoo, but yeah, I'm skipping it. Check this out though. Go for a hike at Radnor Lake. That's pretty. We could do that. They say it's a great hike, beautiful scenery, minutes away from downtown Nashville. 1,300 acres of nature preserve. And you can even do this if you're in a wheelchair. You can roll along these trails. So that's pretty special. The other place they want you to go is Cheekwood Gardens, which I had not heard of before. Look how pretty that is. Spending a day at Cheekwood Gardens, depending on the weather. Cheekwood Estate and Gardens, I should say. It's a 1930s estate, 30,000 square foot mansion, 55 acres of gardens. You can buy tickets to access the botanical garden, the arboretum, the museum. There's a 1.5 mile woodland trail with outdoor sculptures. It's supposed to be beautiful. Sorry, little cough break there. Uh-oh, I can hear Julia as she's starting to practice her it's bassoon. I think is either the bassoon or the saxophone, one of the two. Something else that you can do is attend CMA Fest if you go at the right time. More music on the docket. It had its 50th anniversary in 2023. It is called the longest and largest running country music festival in the world. It is held June, usually in early June. Not sure what the dates are for 2025. Last year it was June 6th through June 9th. So check it out, CMA Fest. There are rotating exhibits at the Frist Art Museum here as well. So that could be fun to go check that out. And then, and this sounds like something that's up my alley, you can go learn about the recording history of Nashville at a place called Studio B. It's a working studio, but it's also a time capsule. It's had a big role in making the Nashville the recording center that it is today. So you can take a guided tour to see where the Nashville sound came to be and where country stars like Dolly Parton, Charlie Pride, Waylon Jennings, and Elvis once recorded some of music's most iconic songs. It happened right here in Studio B. And if maybe you're tired of country music, it's all right. They've got the Nashville Symphony, and it's apparently very fun. Go check it out. The building is architecturally significant, incredible acoustics here, and the musicians at the Nashville Symphony are among the world's best. And so there we go. We've been to Nashville together. And that, my friends, is Travel Tuesday. So there you go. Now when Mark says he's going to Nashville, we know exactly what he's going to see, right? Yeah. Pretty fun. And that is the After Party Live for Tuesday. Tomorrow on the Mark Thompson Show at 11 a.m., John Rothman will be on the show. It's The Planet Stupid with Belinda Weymouth. That will happen tomorrow as well. And then we're back here for Waterfall Wednesday on the After Party Live. Thank you for spending your time. You'll find the PayPal information in the show description and in the About tab. And please click like and subscribe and have the very best day. Make it a really good one. And I'll see you right back here on YouTube tomorrow. But for now, bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.